Long before desire learned to struggle, the ancients understood how the universe obeys. You were never meant to chase what is already seeking you, only to align with it in quiet certainty. As you listen, a forgotten law awakens, revealing why reality bends not to force, but to knowing. How universe obeys. Introduction. Before effort was mistaken for power, a greater law was known, one that revealed how the universe obeys alignment, not force. This wisdom has moved silently through ages, whispered by sages and written into the rhythms of nature itself. It teaches you that what is meant for you is not seized through striving, but summoned through inner agreement. Observe how the heavens do not hurry the stars, nor the earth command the seed to rise. The oak does not wrestle with the soil, yet it grows toward the sun in perfect obedience to its nature. In the same way, your life responds not to pressure, but to the state of being you consistently inhabit. The universe listens through resonance. Every thought you hold, every feeling you dwell within, sends out a silent summons, like a note struck upon an unseen instrument. Experiences gather and arrange themselves to match that tone, answering not what you ask for, but what you are. Gratitude felt before proof appears becomes a signal so clear that reality cannot help but follow. This is not the surface art of hopeful thinking, but an ancient science of consciousness. Your awareness is the ground from which events grow. Calm expectation is the seed. Trust is the rain. What you nurture inwardly must, in time, take form outwardly. To understand how the universe obeys, you must shift from effort to alignment, from reaching to receiving. When you loosen your grip on fear and urgency, you step back into the natural current of abundance that has always surrounded you. In that still agreement between you and life, the unseen begins to move. Here, miracles are not demanded, they emerge. Reality reshapes itself not through struggle, but through certainty. Align your inner state with the truth you wish to live, and you will witness the great law in action, the invisible yielding to the visible, the formless becoming form, and destiny unfolding with quiet inevitability. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Waking Light Within. Chapter 1. The Opening of the Gate. You have unknowingly witnessed this law in action countless times, though its significance may have escaped your notice. Take the tale of Mabel Knox, whose modest garden became a testament to the power of blessing over worry. While others fretted about frost and drought, Mabel discovered that seeds responded not to her fears, but to her love. Each morning, she would touch the soil with tender reverence, her heart overflowing with visions of vibrant blooms and abundant harvests. Within days, green shoots emerged, reaching toward her affection like children answering a mother's call. This same principle revealed itself through Edwin Poe's artistry. Where others saw only what their eyes could capture, Edwin dared to paint the feelings that stirred within his soul. His brush moved not by sight, but by sensation, and the canvas yielded to his emotional truth. Colors flowed and merged in ways that defied conventional perception, yet created works of startling beauty. The painting spoke not of technical skill alone, but of the heart's ability to command reality through pure feeling. These stories unveil a fundamental truth. The universe responds not to your words, but to the emotional essence behind them. When Mabel blessed her garden, when Edwin painted his feelings, they demonstrated that creation bows to the quality of attention you bring to it. Your emotions are the invisible artists shaping the clay of existence. The ancients understood this wisdom, encoding it in teachings passed down through generations. It is not your thoughts alone, but the warmth with which you hold them that determines their power to manifest. When you infuse your desires with genuine affection rather than anxious need, the world conspires to mirror your inner state. Sacred practice. Find a moment when sunlight streams through your window, casting its golden blessing upon the room. Settle into stillness and place your heart's desire gently in your lap, as though it already exists in physical form. Allow gratitude to well up naturally, expanding until it dissolves all sense of waiting or wanting. In the sacred chamber of your heart, whisper the truth. It already is. With each breath, release this peaceful knowing into the world, letting it ripple outward like waves on still water. Chapter 2. The Field of Echoes. Consider the wisdom revealed through Minnie Dale's way of being. Each morning she spoke with genuine appreciation of life's smallest gifts, the warmth of sunlight on her face, the melody of birdsong, the aroma of fresh bread. As she cultivated this practice of celebrating minor miracles, her world transformed into a canvas of delightful synchronicities. A chance encounter would lead to unexpected friendship. A wrong turn would reveal a hidden treasure. The universe seemed to orchestrate moments of joy, matching her frequency of appreciation with experiences that sparked wonder. The truth becomes evident. What you celebrate multiplies. By directing her attention toward life's sweetness, Minnie activated a magnetic force that drew more reasons for gratitude into her sphere. She discovered that the law responds not to desperate pleas, but to the steady vibration of thankfulness. This principle found further validation through Clarence Boyd's journey with abundance. For years, his relationship with money was stained by anxiety. He would obsess over bills, mentally rehearse scenarios of lack, and feel his chest tighten at the mere thought of finances. Then he learned the ancient art of gratitude before manifestation. Instead of fixating on what was missing, he began thanking the universe for the abundance he wished to experience. He felt the sensation of financial freedom in his body before external evidence appeared. As Clarence shifted his emotional frequency from fear to appreciation, remarkable changes unfolded. Business opportunities emerged as if summoned by his new vibration. Unexpected sources of income revealed themselves. His entire financial landscape transformed, demonstrating that what you consistently feel, you inevitably experience. The law of reflection operates with mathematical precision. Your dominant emotional frequency becomes your living reality. When Minnie radiated joy, joy sought her out. When Clarence embodied abundance, abundance responded in kind. Now pause and enter into stillness. Feel the invisible field of possibility that surrounds you. From a place of quiet certainty, speak one simple yes, not as a word, but as a feeling emanating from your heart. Notice how the very air seems to vibrate in harmony with your affirmation. Let this awareness settle into your being, like the warmth of freshly poured tea permeating every cell. Chapter 3. The Circle of Allowing. The wisdom whispers a truth often forgotten. The path of least resistance carries the greatest power. Pearl Nix embodied this lesson through her journey of awakening. Day after day, she fought against the currents of life, believing that manifestation required constant strain and effort. Her muscles tensed, her mind raced, and her spirit grew weary from the endless battle of willing her desires into being. Yet in her exhaustion came the gift of surrender. One evening, as fatigue swept through her being, Pearl released her iron grip on outcomes. In that moment of letting go, something extraordinary occurred. Her desires began flowing toward her with natural ease. The very things she had struggled to achieve started appearing effortlessly, as though they had been waiting for her to step out of their way. Through Pearl's experience, you glimpse a fundamental truth. Allowing is not a passive state of inaction, but rather a sophisticated form of trust in the universe's intelligence. When you cease forcing outcomes through sheer willpower, you align with the natural order that governs all creation. Like a river finding its path to the sea, your desires know the way to manifestation. Lionel Ware's tale mirrors this wisdom from another angle. His heart yearned for deep connection, yet fear of potential loss created a barrier around his spirit. He filled his days with endless activity, believing that if he worked hard enough, love would have no choice but to appear. But love remained elusive, slipping through his grasp like water through clenched fingers. The turning point came when Lionel embraced his solitude as a sacred teacher. Instead of viewing his current state as lacking, he began to see it as preparation. In blessing his loneliness, he discovered a profound truth, that love flows most freely into a heart at peace with itself. When he stopped treating solitude as an enemy to be conquered, it transformed into a gentle guide leading him toward authentic connection. These stories illuminate a powerful principle. The art of receiving lies not in forceful action, but in conscious allowing. When Pearl ceased her exhausting struggle, her desires stepped forward naturally. When Lionel blessed his present circumstance, he opened the door to what he truly sought. Both discovered that manifestation occurs most powerfully in the space of surrender. Now, let us engage in an ancient practice that has guided seekers through the ages. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Imagine your deepest dreams resting beside you, as natural and present as your own breath. They are not distant possibilities to be chased, but companions already walking with you on your path. Feel their presence, safe and inevitable, as real as the air touching your skin. Allow a gentle smile to arise, not from effort, but from the simple recognition of what already is. Release your grip on control, letting it dissolve like morning mist in sunlight. Observe how the universe responds to this opening, this softening. For just as water naturally fills any empty vessel, so too does the universe flow into every space created by trust. Chapter 4. The Language of Thank You. In the gentle folds of time, two souls discovered a sacred truth through the practice of preemptive gratitude. Hazel Pratt, dwelling in a modest cottage at the edge of a sleepy village, began each morning with an unusual ritual. Before the sun painted the sky, she would sit at her weathered oak table and write heartfelt notes of thanks for blessings yet to manifest. "Thank you for the flourishing garden that nourishes both body and spirit," she would write, though her yard lay bare. "Thank you for the wisdom and joy shared with kindred spirits," she penned, despite living in solitude. Within months her barren yard transformed into a haven of herbs and flowers, drawing neighbors who soon became cherished friends. Her gratitude had carved channels through which abundance flowed naturally, as water follows the course prepared for it. Owen Tate discovered this same principle in the bustling heart of a city where loneliness often dwelt in crowds. Each evening, he would light a candle and speak his appreciation for friendships that existed only in his heart. "I am thankful for the meaningful conversations shared over warm tea," he would say to the empty room. "I am grateful for the laughter and understanding that fills my days," he would declare to the silence. As surely as dawn follows dusk, these phantom friendships took form. A chance encounter at a bookshop, a surprising connection at a cafe. One by one, the very souls he had thanked for appeared, carrying the exact qualities he had appreciated in advance. Their stories illuminate an ageless truth. Gratitude is not merely a response to what is, but a magnetic force that draws forth what could be. When you offer thanks for the unseen, you fashion a bridge between present circumstance and future grace. Your appreciation becomes the architect of tomorrow's reality. The universe responds not to desperate pleas, but to the quiet certainty of grateful anticipation. As you stand now at this threshold of understanding, you are invited to participate in this timeless practice. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment as day greets night, or night welcomes dawn. Whisper silent, thanks for something still invisible. Let emotion gild the moment, until anticipation becomes certainty disguised as peace. Feel the warmth of future blessings, as though they already rest in your embrace. In this sacred space between what is and what will be, your gratitude becomes the seed from which tomorrow's gardens grow. Chapter 5. The Gentle Command. In the depths of an ancient valley, where wisdom gathered like morning mist, Nora Fay made a discovery that would transform her understanding of manifestation. Each evening, as twilight painted the sky in gentle hues, she would retreat to her garden and speak her desires into existence. At first, like many before her, she declared her intentions with forceful determination, believing that the universe required bold proclamation. Yet as seasons turned, she noticed something remarkable. The softer her voice became, the more swiftly her words took form in the physical world. When she whispered, "Abundance flows effortlessly to me," with the tenderness of a mother's lullaby, opportunities appeared like flowers opening at dawn. Her gentle tone seemed to slip between the spaces of reality, finding fertile soil in the quiet places where creation begins. Far across the waters, Preston Vale learned this same truth through different means. As a sailor who had weathered countless storms, he had long believed that mastery meant struggling against the elements. But one windswept evening, exhausted from fighting turbulent seas, he surrendered into a state of peaceful acceptance. To his amazement, the waves began to mirror his inner calm, as though nature herself responded to the quality of his presence rather than the strength of his will. This revelation echoes through the corridors of time. True power flows not from force, but from alignment. When you speak to the universe, it listens not to volume, but to vibration. Your whispered certainty carries more creative force than all the shouted demands in existence. Like a master musician who needs no grand gestures to conduct an orchestra, your quiet confidence shapes reality with elegant precision. Consider how a gentle stream, through patient persistence, carves pathways through solid stone, or how the softest breeze, carrying seeds of change, transforms entire landscapes over time. This is the way of natural law, not through dominance, but through harmonious interaction with the forces that govern all things. The wisdom keepers of old understood this principle well. They knew that the universe responds most readily to those who have learned to speak its native language, the language of serene assurance. When you align your energy with this truth, you need not strain or struggle. Your desires unfold with the same effortless grace as petals opening to sunlight. Sacred practice. Lower your inner voice until thought flows like humming breeze. Feel reality relax in response, reshaping itself according to your ease. Chapter 6. The Mirror Beneath All Things. Along a winding path in a village untouched by time, there lived a woman named Effie Ray. Each morning, as the first light painted the eastern sky, she would stand before her mirror with a soft cloth in hand. With gentle circular motions, she polished its surface until it gleamed like still water. What began as a simple morning ritual soon revealed itself as something far more significant. As the days passed, Effie noticed that her life began to sparkle with the same brilliance as her mirror. Opportunities appeared with crystal clarity, relationships reflected deeper understanding, and her path forward shone with newfound purpose. The mirror had become more than glass. It was teaching her an ancient truth about the relationship between inner and outer worlds. In the same village lived Harold Penn, whose home had accumulated years of memories in dusty corners and cluttered shelves. One autumn morning, moved by an inexplicable urge, he began to clear away the unnecessary. With each item released, he felt a corresponding lightness in his thoughts. As spaces opened in his home, new possibilities emerged in his mind. When the last drawer was organized, he discovered his thoughts had arranged themselves with equal precision. These stories whisper a truth known to sages throughout the ages. Your external world maintains a sacred dialogue with your internal landscape. Every object in your space carries an energetic signature that either lifts or weighs upon your spirit. When you tend to your environment with conscious care, you simultaneously polish the mirror of your consciousness. This ancient wisdom teaches that order is not merely about appearance, it is about energy. When you align your physical space, you create pathways for universal forces to flow more freely through your life. Each act of cleaning becomes a ceremony of clearing. Each moment of organizing transforms into a ritual of renewal. Think of your environment as a living prayer, continuously reflecting your inner state back to you. The dust that gathers on surfaces represents stagnant thoughts awaiting transformation. The clutter in corners echoes confused energies seeking resolution. By addressing these physical manifestations with loving attention, you simultaneously cleanse the corresponding spaces within. But remember, this practice calls for gentleness rather than harsh judgment. Just as you wouldn't scrub a delicate mirror with force, approach both your space and yourself with tender care. Let each cleaning motion become a blessing, each organizing gesture a silent affirmation of your worthiness to live in clarity and light. Sacred practice. Wipe a surface while breathing forgiveness toward yourself. Observe how that small ritual translates to transparent thought. Chapter 7. The Music of Intention. Just as a mirror reflects light, your environment reflects consciousness. What you perceive around you emerges from the quality of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. When you transform your inner world, the outer must follow. This is the immutable law that governs all creation. Consider the story of Dottie Ames, who understood this principle through music. In the quiet hours before sunrise, she would sit at her piano, carefully adjusting each string until perfect pitch emerged. As she brought harmony to her instrument, she noticed how the rest of her day flowed with similar grace. Meetings that might have jarred became orchestrated moments of synchronicity. Challenges resolved themselves with the same natural ease as a resolved chord. She had discovered that tuning her environment tuned her life. Franklin Kerr learned this truth through the power of praise. Where once he saw only flaws and frustrations, he began to sing appreciation for even the smallest blessings. Each complaint he transformed into gratitude became a note in a new song. As his inner melody shifted from discord to harmony, circumstances danced to match his tune. Projects that had seemed stuck suddenly moved forward with rhythmic precision. Relationships that had felt strained began to resonate with understanding. Both Dottie and Franklin revealed through their experiences that the outer world faithfully echoes our inner vibration. Just as a musical note creates sympathetic vibrations in nearby strings, your dominant thoughts and feelings generate matching conditions in your environment. The universe responds not to what you demand, but to the song your being sings. This mirroring extends beyond the physical realm into the subtle fabric of experience itself. When you shift the frequency of your thoughts and emotions, you automatically alter the frequency of events and circumstances that surround you. Like adjusting the tension of a string to produce the desired note, you can tune your consciousness to manifest desired outcomes. The ancient ones knew this secret. Everything in creation responds to the vibration you hold within. Your thoughts and feelings are not merely private experiences. They are living forces that shape the very substance of reality. When you maintain an inner state of harmony, outer circumstances naturally align with that resonance. Now, for the sacred practice that will help you embody this wisdom. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Hum softly the feeling of fulfilled desire until your chest vibrates with gentle joy. Let the universe follow your tune like loyal harmony. This simple act aligns your being with the frequency of manifestation, allowing what you seek to flow naturally into form. Chapter 8. The Light of Forgiveness. Long ago, Ruth Gale discovered how memories could become prisons of their own making. Each morning she would wake to find her thoughts caught in an endless refrain of past hurts, disappointments, and regrets. Like a needle stuck in the groove of an old record, her mind traced the same patterns day after day until her present moment became nothing more than an echo of what had been. The weight of these remembered wounds colored everything she touched. New opportunities appeared tainted by old fears. Relationships wilted under the shadow of previous betrayals, and each sunrise seemed dimmer than the last. Her life had become a symphony trapped in a single discordant measure. Then, one autumn evening, while watching leaves release themselves to the wind, Ruth glimpsed a profound truth. Nature knows no grudges. Trees do not cling to their leaves, nor do seasons resist their passing. In that moment of clarity, she understood that holding on to pain was not protection, but imprisonment. With this awakening, Ruth began to release each memory that had held her captive. One by one, she unlocked the chambers of her heart where old hurts had made their home. as each wound dissolved into forgiveness. She felt energy flowing back into her life like spring water breaking through ice. Jonas Lark walked a similar path to freedom. For years he had been his own harshest judge, carrying the burden of past mistakes like stones in his pockets. Every misstep, every wrong turn, every imperfect choice became a weight that anchored him to what had been, preventing him from moving forward. But when Jonas finally extended to himself the same compassion he so readily offered others, something remarkable occurred. The very conflicts that had seemed etched in stone began to soften and dissolve. External battles that had raged for years quietly resolved themselves, as if they had been sustained only by his self-judgment. Through their journeys, a timeless truth emerged. Forgiveness is not merely an emotional release. It is the key that unlocks the flow of universal energy. When you hold on to past hurts, you create dams in the river of life. But each act of forgiveness removes another barrier, allowing the current of creation to flow freely once again. Sacred practice. Close your eyes and gather all your remembered pain into gentle awareness. With each breath, send waves of compassion to these wounded places within. Feel how each exhalation carries away the weight of old hurts, transforming them into clear, pure air. Notice how this space, now emptied of past shadows, becomes fertile ground where new possibilities can take root and bloom. Chapter 9. The Still Point. In the ceaseless rush of achievement, you may find yourself caught in a familiar pattern, one that Millie Greer knew all too well. Her days were a blur of endless tasks, each moment crammed with activity, her mind racing ahead while her body struggled to keep pace. She filled every second with motion, convinced that success lay in perpetual movement. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, speaks to us through the language of circumstances. For Millie, the message came through a sudden illness that confined her to bed rest. In those first days of enforced stillness, anxiety gnawed at her thoughts. Yet as hours stretched into days, something extraordinary began to unfold. In the quiet spaces between heartbeats, Millie discovered a different kind of power. Her world, which she had believed required constant manipulation, began arranging itself with effortless grace. Opportunities emerged not from frantic action, but from the fertile soil of stillness. Albert Knox walked a similar path to understanding. For years, he had chased miracles with the determination of a hunter pursuing prey. Each achievement became a trophy to validate his worth, yet the truly extraordinary remained ever beyond his grasp. His life was an endless presentation of credentials to an universe that required no resume. The shift came when exhaustion finally brought him to his knees. In that moment of surrender, when he ceased trying to prove his worthiness, the extraordinary began to unfold around him. Synchronicities bloomed like night flowers, and what he had struggled to achieve arrived with the naturalness of falling leaves. Through their experiences, a deeper truth emerges. Stillness is not the absence of power, but its very essence. Like the pause between musical notes that gives meaning to the melody, it is in moments of quiet that the universe aligns its forces. When you cease the constant doing, you create space for being, and it is in being that manifestation finds its purest expression. Think of a pond, disturbed by countless ripples. Only when the surface grows still can it perfectly reflect the sky above. Your mind operates by the same principle. In chaos, it can only mirror confusion, but in stillness, it becomes a perfect mirror for the infinite possibilities awaiting expression. Ancient practice. Rest your awareness in the space between your breaths. Notice how each inhale naturally concludes in a moment of perfect stillness before the exhale begins. In this sacred pause, you touch the same silence from which all creation springs. Feel how the universe rests there with you, awaiting your calm approval to proceed. This is the space where miracles are born, not through force, but through serene allowing. Chapter 10. The Bloom of Trust. In the realm of manifestation there exists a sacred garden where dreams take root and flourish. Yet this garden operates by laws as ancient as the earth itself, demanding not just the planting of seeds, but the wisdom to let them grow undisturbed. Elsie Dorn understood this mystical principle. Each morning she would sit in her meditation corner, planting her aspirations in the fertile soil of her consciousness. Like a wise gardener, she knew that once a seed was planted, it required only water, sunlight, and, most importantly, trust in the unseen processes of growth. Her method was simple, yet powerful. After placing her intentions in the soil of universal mind, she would step away with a heart full of joy, knowing that beneath the surface, miraculous transformations were taking place. She never doubted the process, never questioned whether her dreams were taking root. Instead, she lived each day in quiet celebration, tending to her current life while maintaining unwavering faith in the harvest to come. Floyd Marr walked a different path. Though he too planted seeds of intention, his approach revealed the common error that many make on this sacred journey. Every day he would dig up his dreams to check their progress, his impatience disrupting the very growth he sought to verify. Each examination weakened the roots that were trying to take hold. Each doubt disturbed the delicate process of manifestation. The universe speaks through these contrasting tales, revealing a truth as old as creation itself. That which grows does so in darkness first. Just as a seed must be allowed its time in the depths before breaking through to sunlight, your desires must be granted their season of invisible development. This mirrors the ancient wisdom passed down through generations of spiritual gardeners. Trust is the fertilizer that nourishes manifestation. When you plant a physical seed, you do not stand guard demanding evidence of its progress. You do not tear it from the earth repeatedly seeking proof of its transformation. Instead, you water it, bless it, and walk away in complete confidence of nature's unfailing processes. So too must you treat the seeds of your desires. The law of attraction operates with the same unwavering certainty as the laws of nature. Your role is not to force growth, but to maintain the perfect conditions for it: faith, gratitude, and patient allowing. Sacred practice. Sit quietly and envision your desire as a seed being planted in rich, dark soil. Feel the rightness of its placement, the perfection of its potential. Whisper, "Thank you," with the same certainty you would feel thanking a planted seed for the flower it will become. Then, rise and walk away, carrying in your heart the peaceful assurance that all growth happens in its own divine timing. Let your faith be the gentle rain that nourishes your dreams, and your patience be the sunlight that draws them inevitably toward manifestation. Remember, the seeds that bring forth the mightiest oaks rest unseen before their sprouts ever touch sunlight. Your desires follow this same sacred law. Trust in their unfoldment, and they will surely bloom. Part 2. The Dance Between Seen and Unseen. Chapter 11. The Compass of Joy. Long ago, in a distant village, a young weaver sat at her loom, creating patterns that brought no light to her eyes. Though her technique was flawless, her spirit remained untouched by the work of her hands. Yet one morning, as sunbeams danced across her threads, she felt drawn to weave colors that made her heart sing. Against all conventional wisdom, she abandoned the traditional designs and followed the pull of her own delight. Soon merchants from distant lands sought her unique tapestries, drawn by the joy woven into every fiber. This ancient tale mirrors the truth that Sally Rook discovered in her own journey. Each morning, rather than consulting her carefully crafted plans, she would pause and ask herself what sparked excitement in her heart. When an unexpected invitation brought joy, she accepted despite her schedule saying otherwise. When a new project lit up her spirit, she pursued it, even when others counseled caution. The universe, ever responsive to authentic energy, began rearranging circumstances to support her choices. Opportunities appeared precisely when needed, connections formed effortlessly, and resources materialized as though summoned by her genuine enthusiasm. Sally had stumbled upon a cardinal truth. Joy itself is the compass that points toward your highest path. Glen Poe walked a different road. Surrounded by opportunities that made his heart leap, he instead chose what seemed sensible and secure. Each time delight knocked at his door, he turned away, believing responsibility meant ignoring his spirit's call. Gradually, the doors of possibility began to close. His work grew heavy, relationships became strained, and life itself seemed to lose its luster. These experiences unveil an eternal principle. Joy is not merely an emotion, but a form of guidance from the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. When you feel genuine excitement, you are receiving a signal from the universe about which direction holds your highest good. This is not the shallow pleasure of momentary distraction, but the deep resonance of alignment with your true path. Think of joy as a tuning fork that vibrates in harmony with your destiny. When you follow its resonance, you align with the current of creation itself. The universe speaks through your enthusiasm, showing you where energy wants to flow. Your excitement is not random. It is the language of divine direction. The law of attraction responds most powerfully to authentic feeling. When you move in the direction of your genuine joy, you broadcast a frequency that calls forth matching circumstances. This is why forced actions, even toward worthy goals, often yield limited results, while inspired action seems blessed by synchronicity. Sacred practice. Take a moment now to sit in stillness. Bring to mind a recent moment when your body relaxed in genuine happiness, not because you should feel happy, but because something truly delighted you. Notice the physical sensation of this authentic joy. Let this feeling guide your next thought naturally, without forcing or directing it. Observe where your mind travels when led by pure delight. This is the universe showing you your next step through the language of joy. Trust this guidance as you would trust the warmth of the sun leading flowers to bloom. Remember, where joy leads, alignment lives. The universe has hidden directional arrows in your moments of genuine delight. Follow them with trust, and watch as reality rearranges itself to match your authentic path. Chapter 12. The Weight of Words. In a marketplace teeming with discord, a woman named Mercan moved through the crowds, her words falling like gentle rain on parched earth. When merchants argued over prices, her peaceful tone dissolved their tension. When children quarreled over sweets, her soft utterances restored their smiles. She had discovered that speech carries an invisible force that shapes the atmosphere around it. The wisdom hidden within her story reveals a universal truth. Your words create the weather of your world. Each syllable sends ripples through the fabric of reality, attracting circumstances that match their energetic signature. Mercan understood this sacred law, treating each word as a seed that would grow into experience. Leo Witt walked a different path. His tongue carried complaints like bitter herbs, spreading their flavor through every conversation. He spoke of lack, and scarcity followed. He voiced distrust, and betrayal appeared. He muttered about illness, and his health declined. The universe, being a perfect mirror, reflected back the exact frequency of his speech with unwavering precision. These contrasting journeys unveil the ancient principle that governs all creation. Speech is not merely communication, it is incantation. Every word you utter is a spell, programming the field of infinite possibility that surrounds you. When you speak, you are not just expressing thoughts, you are issuing commands to the universe. Consider how Mercan transformed chaos not through force, but through the deliberate choice of gentle words. She didn't fight against discord, she simply introduced a new frequency through her speech, like adding a drop of clear water to clouded liquid. Her words carried the power to purify the environment. The universe responds not to the dictionary meaning of your words, but to their energetic signature. A complaint wrapped in polite language still sends forth the vibration of dissatisfaction. A blessing spoken with genuine peace, even in simple terms, radiates harmony into your sphere of influence. This wisdom teaches that mindful speech is not about controlling or censoring yourself, but about becoming aware of the creative power contained in each word. Before sound leaves your lips, it exists as pure potential. In that pause between thought and expression lies your power to choose which reality you will call forth. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Before speaking, taste each word mentally as though it were a drop of honey on your tongue. Notice its texture, its energy, its potential impact. Release only those words that carry the flavor of peace. Let others dissolve back into silence. This ancient practice of mindful speech will gradually transform the atmosphere of your life, calling forth experiences that match the harmony of your chosen words. Chapter 13. The Current of Giving. Long ago, in a village among rolling hills, June Baird kept a small garden overflowing with vegetables. While others guarded their harvest jealously, she shared her bounty freely with any who passed by. What mystified the villagers was how her garden seemed to multiply its yield with each gift she bestowed. The more she gave, the more abundantly her plants produced, as though nature itself responded to her open heart. When you give with pure joy, you align yourself with the universe's natural state of endless abundance. Like a stream that flows ceaselessly, genuine generosity opens channels through which prosperity can move freely. June understood this timeless truth, that giving is not a transaction, but a participation in the infinite cycle of creation. In contrast, Ross Kent clutched tightly to his possessions in another village across the valley. Though his storehouse was full, his spirit remained empty. With each reluctant sharing, he carefully calculated what he expected in return. Soon, he noticed his wealth beginning to stagnate, as though the very energy of abundance had withdrawn from his grasp. His story teaches that when giving becomes a burden rather than a blessing, the flow of prosperity constricts. The universe operates through continuous circulation, like breath moving in and out, like tides rising and falling. Energy must flow to remain vital. When you give with expectations or resentment, you create resistance in this natural movement. But when you give from a place of joy, you become a clear channel through which abundance can flow unimpeded. This wisdom reveals itself in countless ways. Notice how a tree freely offers its fruit, asking nothing in return. Observe how the sun pours forth light without demanding gratitude. These are not mere poetic metaphors, but demonstrations of the fundamental law of giving. The universe itself is an endless act of giving, and when you align with this truth, you tap into its limitless supply. Your role in this cosmic dance is not to calculate or control, but to allow yourself to become a joyful participant in the circulation of blessings. When you give with a light heart, you signal to the universe your trust in its abundant nature. This trust then manifests as increased flow in all areas of your life. Remember, the secret lies not in the size of the gift, but in the energy with which it is given. A small offering given with pure joy creates more powerful ripples than grand gestures made with reluctance. Like June's garden, your life will multiply what you share freely, returning to you in ways that often surpass your imagination. Sacred practice. Visualize your energy circling outward like sunlight reflected on water. Feel return waves of blessing touch gently back. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Vision Seat. In a small mountain village lived a weaver named Lula Best, whose tapestries captured scenes that had not yet occurred. Each morning she would settle into her grandmother's old rocking chair, close her eyes, and allow visions of beauty to fill her mind. As she wove, she felt deep contentment, as though the scenes already existed. Within days or weeks, the images in her tapestries would manifest in the village. Celebrations she had pictured, harvests she had dreamed, joys she had first seen in thread. When others asked her secret, she would smile and say, "I weave from the chair of completion, where all is well and finished." She understood that creation flows most freely through vessels of peace. The power of emotional positioning reveals itself through contrast. In the same village dwelled Clyde Orr, a talented sculptor who worked from a different inner stance. Though his hands were skilled, his mind dwelled in worry. Each time he began a new piece, anxiety about its reception would cloud his vision. He would start and stop, second-guess and revise, until his works remained forever incomplete. This truth echoes through the ages. The seat from which you create determines what manifests. When you position yourself in lack, striving, or fear, the universe mirrors that emotional frequency. But when you rest in the feeling of fulfillment, allowing yourself to experience the joy of completion before physical evidence appears, reality aligns with that inner certainty. The difference lies not in skill or effort, but in the chosen point of observation. Those who manifest with ease have learned to witness their desires from the perspective of having received them. They do not reach forward in desperation, but rest back in gratitude. They do not strain toward possibility, but relax into the feeling of actualization. The ancient practice. Find a quiet space and a comfortable chair. This will become your seat of creation. As you settle in, breathe deeply and allow your body to soften. Imagine this chair exists outside of time, in a dimension where all possibilities have already manifested. From this space of completion, play the movie of your desire as though watching a memory. Feel the satisfaction of its fulfillment. Let comfort and certainty fill your being. Do not reach or grasp. Simply observe from this position of having received. Remain here for several minutes each day, allowing your nervous system to attune to the frequency of completion. The universe will begin orchestrating circumstances to match your inner feeling state. Your only task is to maintain the perspective of the fulfilled observer. Just as Lula Best wove from certainty while Clyde Orr sculpted from doubt, your emotional position while creating becomes the foundation of what manifests. Choose your seat wisely, for it determines the shape of all that follows. Chapter 15. The Bridge of Faith. In the hidden scrolls of time lies the tale of Ivy Brooks, whose mornings began with 3 simple words, "I am guided." She whispered this truth while preparing tea, spoke it walking to market, breathed it before sleep. Soon, the universe began responding with signs so precise they appeared as though arranged by an unseen hand. A stranger's comment would answer her unspoken question. A book would fall open to exactly the page she needed. A wrong turn would lead to an unexpected blessing. The law speaks. When you declare alignment with universal wisdom, life rearranges itself to confirm your faith. Each "I am guided" creates an invisible thread connecting your next step to divine timing. Yet in the same city lived Neil Case, whose motto was, "I'll believe it when I see it." He demanded evidence before trust, proof before action. While opportunities knocked softly at his door, he remained frozen in analysis, waiting for guarantees that never arrive ahead of courage. His need for certainty became the very wall blocking his path. The ancient teaching whispers, faith is not blind stepping, but recognition of an existing bridge. Just as you trust the ground beneath your feet without examining every molecule, so must you walk forward knowing support will meet each step. Your relationship with the unseen determines the speed of manifestation. When you declare, "I am guided," with the same certainty that you know the sun will rise, synchronicity becomes your natural language. The universe speaks through coincidence to those who listen with trust. Think of faith as invisible architecture. The blueprint exists in energy before matter catches up. Each time you choose trust over doubt, you strengthen this ethereal structure until it solidifies in your experience. Your belief becomes the contractor, building reality from the materials of conviction. The wise ones of old understood. The bridge appears beneath your feet not before your step, but because of it. To wait for proof is to stand still forever. To move in trust is to call forth the path. The ancient practice: find a quiet moment and space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and envision a bridge of pure golden light stretching before you. This bridge connects your current reality to your desired outcome. Stand at its beginning. Feel its solid presence beneath your feet, though it appears to be made of light. With each breath, take one step forward, declaring silently, "I am guided. My path is sure. My arrival is certain." Let each step fill you with deeper conviction. Notice how the bridge grows more solid with your trust. Continue walking until you reach the other side, feeling the completion of your journey in every cell. This is not mere visualization. It is energetic architecture. You are laying the foundation for physical manifestation through your willingness to cross the bridge of faith first in consciousness. Make this crossing daily, feeling the certainty grow stronger with each practice. Soon, you will notice your outer world beginning to mirror the sureness of your inner steps, just as Ivy Brooks discovered when she chose to live by guidance rather than proof. Remember, the bridge exists. Your task is not to build it, but to trust it enough to take the first step. Chapter 16. The Radiance of Service. In a village beside ancient hills lived Tess Doone, whose small cottage glowed each evening like a beacon of warmth. Though she possessed little by worldly measures, she shared what light she had: a bowl of soup for weary travelers, kind words for troubled hearts, a sheltering space for those caught in storms. With each giving, her own life grew brighter, as though invisible hands were multiplying her generosity back to her. Within months, opportunities began appearing at her door like faithful birds returning home. The universe speaks in the language of circulation. What flows out must flow back, for such is the eternal law of balance. Your gifts, whether material or spiritual, create currents in the vast ocean of energy that surrounds all things. These currents return bearing treasures shaped by the purity of your initial offering. Paul Sen understood this mystery well. Each morning he would sit in meditation, sending waves of support toward others' dreams. He visualized their success with the same intensity he once reserved for his own desires. A curious thing began to unfold. As others' paths cleared, his own obstacles seemed to dissolve. The more he celebrated others' victories, the more his own life filled with unexpected blessings. This reflects an ageless truth. The universe knows no separation between giver and receiver. They are two faces of the same coin, two beats of the same heart. When you strengthen another's light, you unknowingly kindle your own flame. The energy you send out must complete its circle, returning to its source enriched by its journey. Look closely at nature's example. The sun does not withhold its rays, asking what it will receive in return. It gives unconditionally, and in that giving, sustains all life. The flowers bloom not for themselves alone, but offer their beauty and nectar freely. In this endless dance of giving and receiving, the whole universe maintains its perfect balance. Sacred practice. Choose a quiet moment this afternoon. Sit in stillness and select someone in your life, perhaps even a stranger you passed today. Send them a silent blessing, rich with sincere wishes for their highest good. Feel the warmth of this blessing emanating from your heart like golden light. Make no demands, attach no conditions. Simply give and watch in wonder as the universe mirrors your generosity in unexpected ways. Chapter 17. The Art of Letting Be. In the heart of an ancient valley, Kate Null tended a modest garden filled with just 3 types of flowers. While others filled their plots with countless varieties competing for attention, she focused on nurturing only what brought her soul true joy. As her garden thrived in its elegant simplicity, so too did her life begin to arrange itself with natural grace. Each morning, she would sit among her carefully chosen blooms and hold one pure desire in her heart, like holding a single perfect note in an eternal song. The universe responds not to the volume of our requests, but to the clarity of our signal. When we scatter our energy across countless wishes, we create static in the field of creation. Like a radio trying to tune into multiple stations at once, our manifestations become garbled and unclear. Ira Mead learned this truth through bitter experience. His mind constantly raced with 1,000 desires: wealth, status, romance, adventure, each competing for prominence in his thoughts. He filled his home with vision boards crowded with images, his desk with endless lists of goals. Yet the more he wanted, the less he received. His energy, divided among too many channels, became weak and diffused. His life reflected this chaos, bringing fragments of desires, but never complete fulfillment. The ancient law whispers, simplicity amplifies power. When you distill your desires to their essence, you create a pure frequency that the universe can clearly receive and reflect. Think of sunlight passing through a magnifying glass. It is concentration, not intensity, that creates transformation. This truth echoes through all spiritual traditions. The masters never carried lists of wishes to their meditation cushions. They understood that power lies in singular focus, in the ability to hold one pure feeling until it saturates every cell of being. When you strip away the excess and touch the core of what you truly seek, manifestation becomes as natural as breath. Look at the night sky. Among countless stars, sailors have always found their way by focusing on the North Star alone. Your desires need similar clarity. When you release the need for multiple backups and contingency plans, when you trust one clear signal rather than broadcasting scattered wishes, the universe's response becomes swift and precise. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Bring to mind all your current desires, then begin the gentle process of distillation. Which one, if fulfilled, would bring the deepest sense of peace? Choose that single pure feeling. Perhaps it's abundance, love, or creative expression. Sit with it until it becomes your entire world, until you and the feeling become one. Don't chase the manifestation. Let the satisfaction of the feeling itself become your focus. In this simplicity, you'll discover that clarity is the highest form of power. Chapter 18. The Candle of Focus. In the quiet hours before dawn, B. Holt discovered a truth that would transform her understanding of manifestation. Each morning she would sit in stillness, holding a single image in her mind, not with strain or effort, but with the gentle attention one gives to watching a flower unfold. Whether it was the vision of a new home, a flourishing garden, or harmonious relationships, she would let this one picture rest in her consciousness until it began to glow with its own inner light. As days passed, these images started stepping from her mind into physical form as naturally as dew forms on morning grass. The secret lay not in forcing or willing, but in allowing one vision to fill her entire awareness until it became as real to her inner eye as any physical object. Through her practice, B. unveiled an ancient principle, that focused attention acts as sacred flame, transforming thought essence into material substance. Just as a magnifying glass concentrates sunlight into transformative heat, sustained focus converts ethereal vision into tangible reality. Don Vale's experience illuminated the opposite truth. His mind darted between dozens of desires each day: wealth, recognition, romance, adventure. Like a butterfly tasting many flowers but pollinating none, his scattered attention produced equally scattered results. His manifestations remained partial, fragmentary, never quite taking solid form. The universe, you see, responds not to the quantity of our desires, but to the quality of our focus. When attention splinters across many wants, the creative force disperses like light through a cracked prism. But when consciousness holds steady on one vision, reality shapes itself around that concentrated beam. This wisdom echoes through the ages. Focus is indeed a sacred flame. Just as ancient priests tended their temple fires with reverence, so must you tend the flame of your attention. One clear vision, held in unwavering consciousness, becomes a beacon around which circumstances gather. The law reveals itself with perfect precision. Scattered thoughts create scattered manifestations, while focused awareness brings forth focused results. Your mind is the lens through which universal energy flows. When that lens remains clear and steady, pointed at a single target, creation follows with inevitable grace. Ancient practice. Select one vision that calls to your heart. Find a quiet space as dawn approaches or dusk settles. Close your eyes and let this single image float before your inner sight. Do not grasp or strain. Simply observe it as you would watch a candle flame in darkness. When other thoughts arise, acknowledge them gently and return to your chosen vision. Continue until you feel the image begin to glow with its own inner light, as though it has taken on life of its own. This is the moment when thought begins its journey into form. Chapter 19. The River of Inspired Action. Long ago, in a seaside village, a fisherman's daughter felt an inexplicable urge to move her father's boat to a different harbor before sunset. Though the sky showed no signs of danger, she followed this quiet knowing without hesitation. That night, a sudden storm destroyed every vessel in the original dock, while her father's boat remained safe in its new sanctuary. Your inner compass speaks in gentle suggestions, quiet nudges that arise from the depths of universal wisdom. These whispers emerge not as thunderous commands, but as soft impressions that float into awareness like morning mist. The universe communicates through this subtle language of intuition, offering guidance that transcends rational understanding. When Cora Lynn received such promptings, she moved with them as naturally as a leaf follows the wind. If an inner voice suggested taking a different route to work, she turned without question. If it whispered to call an old friend, she reached for the phone immediately. Through this practice of instant response, she discovered that life had been arranging perfect timings and divine appointments all along. Opportunities appeared, solutions emerged, and synchronicities multiplied like stars emerging at dusk. Roy Page knew these same subtle nudges, yet he treated them as matters for lengthy deliberation. When intuition suggested starting a new project, he waited for external validation. When it urged him to make that important phone call, he postponed until the moment felt more logical. But the currents of creation flow in the present moment. They cannot be scheduled or detained. By the time Roy decided to act, the energy had often shifted, like trying to catch yesterday's tide. The law that governs this dance is simple yet profound. Intuitive guidance carries within it the perfect timing for its own fulfillment. Each prompting arrives complete with its own window of manifestation. To hesitate is to resist the natural flow of universal intelligence. Ancient practice. Sit in stillness for a moment and notice the subtle promptings that arise. When you feel that gentle inner nudge, that quiet knowing that suggests an action, move with it immediately while maintaining peaceful joy. Don't analyze or question. Simply flow with that guidance as water follows its course. In this alignment of impulse and action, you'll discover the magic of perfect timing. The universe speaks in whispers. Your swift response is the key that unlocks its grace. Chapter 20. The Door of Receiving. In the heart of an ancient marketplace, a wise merchant gave away a portion of his finest silks each morning. Yet more intriguing than his generosity was how he received payment from those who could afford it. With a deep bow and the words, "You honor me with your exchange." His wealth grew not from what he gave, but from how gracefully he accepted return. The flow of life moves in perfect circles, like breath itself. While many understand the power of giving, fewer recognize that receiving is equally sacred. To accept graciously is to honor the universal dance of exchange, completing the circuit through which abundance flows. May Holt understood this delicate balance. When someone praised her work, she didn't diminish or deflect, but simply said, "Thank you," with genuine warmth. When unexpected gifts appeared, she welcomed them with the same joy she felt in giving. Through this practice, she discovered that accepting with grace kept the channels of prosperity open and flowing. Opportunities, resources, and connections arrived with increasing frequency, as though the universe had found in her a willing partner in its dance of abundance. Vern Lake walked a different path. Though generous in giving, he unconsciously blocked the return flow. When others offered help, he insisted he could manage alone. When praise came his way, he quickly redirected it. Each deflection of kindness placed another stone in the dam holding back his good fortune. Though he gave freely, his resistance to receiving created an energetic imbalance that prevented wealth from finding its natural home in his life. This teaching reveals a profound truth. The universe seeks equilibrium in all things. Just as nature requires both inhale and exhale, the flow of abundance requires both giving and receiving. To resist either is to interrupt the sacred circle of exchange. The law works with mathematical precision. What you allow yourself to receive creates the space for more to flow. Each gracious acceptance sends ripples through the fabric of creation, signaling your readiness for greater abundance. Ancient practice. Stand before a mirror, shoulders relaxed and spine straight. Voice a compliment to yourself and practice receiving it fully, without deflection or discomfort. Simply say, "Thank you," and let the words sink in. Feel how this small act of acceptance creates space for more goodness to enter. With each "thank you," sense the doors of life opening wider, welcoming the natural flow of abundance that has always been your birthright. This ritual realigns your energy with the eternal dance of give and receive, restoring balance to the sacred circle of exchange. Part 3. The Golden Obedience of the Cosmos. Chapter 21. The Breath of Unity. In a bustling marketplace, a vendor offered fruits to passers-by. Each morning, she noticed how some customers approached with warmth, others with suspicion, and still others with indifference. One day, understanding dawned. Every interaction reflected her own inner state. When she met harshness with kindness, tension dissolved. When she greeted distrust with openness, walls crumbled. Zoe Hill discovered this same truth in her daily encounters. Where once she saw difficult people, she began recognizing aspects of herself seeking integration. The angry colleague mirrored her suppressed frustrations. The withdrawn neighbor reflected her own tendency to isolate. As she blessed each person as another expression of the infinite, magical shifts occurred. Conflicts that had persisted for years simply evaporated. Those who once triggered her now appeared as teachers guiding her toward wholeness. The universe operates as one seamless fabric. What appears as separation is merely the mind's attempt to categorize the uncategorizable. Ben Fay walked this path of revelation when life presented him with seemingly insurmountable differences between himself and others. Rather than reinforcing these perceived divisions, he chose to focus on the underlying unity connecting all beings. Like ripples merging in a pond, peace expanded outward from this recognition. Where he once saw strangers, he now perceived variations of the same light playing through different forms. This ancient wisdom whispers, "There is no other to resist or fear." The world you perceive is your consciousness made visible, each person a facet of the infinite expressing itself through form. When you bless another, you bless yourself. When you judge another, you bind yourself. Unity is not a concept to be understood, but a truth to be lived. The creative force flows most powerfully when we release the illusion of separation. Like countless waves arising from one ocean, we are unique expressions of the same source. This recognition dissolves the barriers between self and other, revealing the coherent field of pure potential from which all manifestation springs. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. As you breathe in, imagine drawing the entire world into your heart, every person, creature, and circumstance. As you exhale, radiate love back out to all beings as though they were your own self. Continue this rhythm. Inhale world as yourself. Exhale love as world. Watch as the boundaries between inner and outer, self and other, begin to blur into pure luminescence. In this space of unity, creation moves through you unobstructed, manifesting with grace and ease. Chapter 22. The Smile of Certainty. The universe operates through the law of reflection, where your inner state manifests in the outer world with perfect precision. Each person you encounter serves as a mirror, revealing the vibrations you emanate into the infinite field of possibilities. When Ada Cook walked through life with a smile warming her face, she discovered an extraordinary phenomenon. Strangers would spontaneously return her warmth. Shop owners would offer unexpected courtesies, and even hurried commuters would pause to share a moment of connection. Her smile acted as a key, unlocking doors of kindness in others. In contrast, Gene Ash moved through his days wearing a perpetual frown. He noticed only rudeness, encountered frequent delays, and attracted constant friction in his interactions. His expectation of difficulty became a self-fulfilling prophecy, drawing exactly what he anticipated from the universal mirror. The teaching whispers, "Your facial expression is not merely a response to circumstances. It is a command to the cosmos. When you shape your features into joy, you tune the frequency of your entire being to that vibration. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, cannot help but orchestrate events that match this frequency. This truth extends beyond mere positive thinking. It is the activation of an ancient law that governs all creation. Your smile serves as a physical affirmation, a bodily prayer that signals your alignment with joy. The muscles of your face become instruments of manifestation, conducting the symphony of your experience. Remember, the universe knows no linear time. Your smile in this moment ripples both forward and backward, touching all points of your day before they unfold. It is not about waiting for good things to happen before you smile. It is about smiling as the very cause of goodness manifesting. Ancient practice. Sit quietly in a private space. Allow your face to rest in complete neutrality. Then, slowly, deliberately, lift the corners of your mouth into a gentle smile. Hold this expression for 7 breaths. Feel how this simple physical adjustment begins to alter your inner state. Notice how your entire body responds to this facial configuration. This is not pretense. It is practice in commanding the field of infinite possibilities. Maintain this smile as you move through your day, knowing it precedes and creates your experience rather than merely responding to it. Chapter 23. The Cloud of Surrender. In the quietude of a mountain village, there lived a woman named Lil May who understood the sacred art of letting go. Each morning, she would whisper her heart's desires to the universe, then release them with the gentleness of falling petals. Her prayers floated like incense, unbound by desperation or demand. Within days, sometimes hours, life would rearrange itself to match her peaceful surrender. The power lies not in the asking, but in the art of release. When you clutch tightly to desires, you create resistance in the very fabric of creation. Like water, manifestation flows most freely through open hands. Wade Kerr's tale offers the opposite wisdom. He would kneel for hours, pleading with the universe to hasten his dreams into reality. His prayers became negotiations, his meditation a battlefield of want versus waiting. The more he begged, the more distant his desires grew, like mirages retreating across a desert of desperation. Time seemed to slow, matching his energy of lack and longing. The universe responds not to volume, but to vibration. Your requests need no repetition, for they are heard instantly. What matters is the feeling tone that follows. When you trust deeply enough to release attachment, you align with the natural flow of manifestation. Think of a leaf drifting on a stream. It does not fight the current or demand a particular destination. Its surrender to the flow carries it precisely where it needs to go. Your desires operate by the same principle. Once voiced, they require only your peaceful release to find their way into form. In the modern world, this ancient truth often feels counterintuitive. You have been taught that achievement requires constant effort, that manifestation demands perpetual focus. Yet the highest wisdom reveals that gentle release holds more power than forceful pursuit. The second story speaks this truth even more clearly. A merchant obsessed with wealth would count his coins each night, fretting over what he lacked. His neighbor, understanding deeper laws, blessed his current abundance and released all worry about tomorrow. Within a month, opportunity found its way to the neighbor's door while passing the merchant by. These teachings reveal that surrender is not weakness, but wisdom. It is the recognition that the universe holds infinite intelligence, far beyond our limited perspective. When you release your grip on how and when your desires must manifest, you allow this higher wisdom to arrange circumstances in ways your mind could never conceive. Practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Breathe out expectation until only peace remains. Feel yourself becoming as light as air, as free as wind. With each exhalation, release another layer of attachment to outcomes. Like clouds drifting across the sky, let your softness move creation. Simply rest in the knowing that all is well, all is working, all is unfolding in perfect divine timing. Chapter 24. The Garden of Thought. In the heart of an ancient city, Eve Rook discovered a truth as old as time itself. Each dawn, she would sit in her garden, not to tend the physical flowers, but to nurture the blossoms of thought within her mind. With gentle attention, she carefully examined each belief that sprouted in her consciousness, blessing those aligned with light and transmuting those born of shadow. When doubt emerged like thorny stems, she would not battle against it, but rather acknowledge its presence before offering it transformation through love. Day by day, her inner garden flourished, and as naturally as sunlight draws forth petals, her outer world began to mirror the beauty she cultivated within. The universe responds not to the words we speak, but to the emotional soil from which they grow. This eternal principle revealed itself through Eve's experience as opportunities, connections, and moments of grace manifested with increasing frequency in her life, each one reflecting the careful tending of her mental garden. In contrast, Karl Poe walked a different path. Though surrounded by the same infinite potential, he allowed cynical thoughts to take root unchecked. Like weeds spreading in untended earth, these thoughts multiplied until they choked out the natural joy that once flowered freely in his heart. His world gradually became as barren as his inner landscape, proving that what we permit to grow within shapes what manifests without. This sacred law operates with unwavering precision. The mind is fertile soil, and every thought is a seed pregnant with possibility. Those who master this understanding become master gardeners of their destiny. Your thoughts, like tender shoots reaching toward light, contain within them the full pattern of future harvests. The practice passed down through ages teaches us that by cultivating awareness of our mental garden, we participate in the most fundamental act of creation. Each moment offers a choice to nurture thoughts that uplift and inspire, or to allow those that diminish and constrain. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Envision your mind as a vast garden. With loving attention, begin to identify thoughts that dim your light. Like removing unwanted growth, gently acknowledge each limiting belief and release it with compassion. Now imagine watering seeds of optimism and possibility with the pure stream of your attention. Feel the fresh vitality arising as hope takes root and flourishes. Let this fragrance of renewal fill your awareness until you sense your entire being uplifted by its sweet presence. Carry this practice forward, knowing that each thought you tend shapes the garden of your tomorrow. Chapter 25. The Horizon of Perspective. In the depths of the mountains, a wise woman once lived who understood a secret passed down through generations. Each morning she would climb to the highest peak near her dwelling, not to escape the world below, but to embrace it more fully. From this sacred vantage point, life's tapestry revealed itself in perfect order. The wisdom speaks. When you rise above the immediate scene, a greater pattern emerges. Each seeming obstacle transforms into a brushstroke in a masterpiece too vast to comprehend from ground level. Your challenges are but stepping stones arranged by divine intelligence, leading you toward expanded awareness. Life responds not to what you see, but to the height from which you choose to observe. From the valley floor, mountains appear as barriers. From the mountaintop, they form a harmonious range dancing with light and shadow. Your circumstances mirror this truth. Viewed from limitation, they may seem to block your path, but seen from higher ground, they reveal themselves as perfectly placed guides. Just as an eagle soars to spy the entire landscape, your consciousness must rise to witness the complete design of your journey. When you remain too close to any situation, its true significance remains hidden. Step back, rise up, and watch as grace connects every dot of your experience into a constellation of purpose. The law works thus. Your point of observation determines what becomes observable. Choose to view life from the summit of gratitude, and previously unseen blessings come into focus. What appeared as random events align into meaningful sequences. What seemed like delays unveil themselves as divine timing. Many souls remain trapped in the maze because they never climb high enough to see the pattern. They inspect each wall before them, forgetting they possess wings of perspective. Yet the moment you choose to rise, the entire maze transforms into a sacred geometry, visible only from above. This is not mere mental exercise, but spiritual alchemy. When you shift your viewing point, you alter the very landscape you observe. Reality reshapes itself to match your elevated vision. This is why masters throughout time sought high places for contemplation, not to escape, but to see truly. Practice for aligning with higher vision. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and imagine yourself gently rising higher and higher above your current circumstances. Watch as roads of experience connect, as challenges reveal their hidden purposes, as scattered events form perfect patterns. Feel the peace that comes with this expanded view. Let your breath deepen as you witness grace linking every moment of your journey. Hold this elevated perspective for several minutes, knowing that what you see from these heights is equally true when you return to ground level. Your life is a masterpiece, best appreciated from the viewpoint of the soul. Chapter 26. The Pulse of Compassion. In a small mountain village, there lived a woman who discovered that blessing others was like pouring oil on life's machinery. Each morning she would sit in her garden and extend silent well-wishes to every soul who entered her thoughts. Soon her days flowed with remarkable ease, as though the universe itself responded to her gentle practice. The truth reveals itself. When you saturate your consciousness with compassion, reality softens its edges. Just as water smooths rough stones in a stream, your loving thoughts polish the path before you. This is not mere sentiment, but a fundamental law of creation. Consider how Fei Tru embodied this ancient wisdom. She made it her practice to imagine every being, friend and stranger alike, surrounded by golden light. With each blessing she offered, her own heart grew more serene. Soon, circumstances that once seemed insurmountable began dissolving like morning mist. her world transformed not through force or struggle, but through the quiet power of her radiating goodwill. In contrast, Drew Pike carried the weight of judgment and withholding. He saw others as obstacles rather than mirrors of the divine. As his heart contracted in criticism, life reflected back increasing resistance. His days became a series of frustrations, each reinforcing his belief in a hostile world. The teaching whispers, "The universe moves in perfect accordance with the heart's attitude." When you bless, you oil the great machinery of creation. When you judge, you create friction in its gears. This is not punishment or reward, but the natural consequence of energy matching energy. Think of your heart as a lamp. When you fill it with the oil of blessing, its light touches everything around you. This radiance is not limited by distance or time. It reaches across the visible and invisible realms, arranging circumstances with subtle precision. A sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. As faces and names drift through your awareness, surround each one with silent blessing. Do not discriminate between those you love and those who challenge you. Send waves of kindness outward like ripples on a pond. Feel how this practice softens your own being, creating a field of grace that accompanies you through each day. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you emanate. Let your heart become a beacon of blessing, and watch as life's paths smooth themselves before you. This is the way of those who understand the law. They do not fight against circumstances, but transform them through the alchemy of compassion. Your heart's radiance is the key that unlocks every door. Now, sit quietly and begin. Send kindness silently to anyone crossing your mind. Feel universal gears align smoothly. This is not merely an exercise. It is the restoration of your natural state of being. Chapter 27. The Temple of Presence. A merchant traveled far seeking sacred wisdom, hoping to learn the secret of commanding reality itself. After years of wandering, he found an elderly woman tending roses beside a humble cottage. "The power you seek lies not in distant temples," she said, "but in the breath you're drawing right now. Your relationship with the present moment determines how swiftly your desires materialize. The universe responds not to what you wish for tomorrow, but to the quality of your attention right now." This truth echoes through the ages, yet its simplicity often escapes those seeking complexity. Net Kemp understood this principle intimately. Each morning she would pause to fully experience the warmth of sunlight on her skin, the aroma of her tea, the texture of the morning air. As her awareness deepened into now, remarkable coincidences began appearing, precisely timed meetings, unexpected opportunities, solutions arising without effort. She discovered that miracles multiply when consciousness remains anchored in the present moment. Wade Cray walked a different path. Though his desires burned bright, his mind constantly raced ahead to future scenarios. Would his dreams manifest? When would success arrive? How would challenges resolve? This mental time-traveling created a subtle interference like static disrupting a clear signal. The more he worried about tomorrow, the more magic seemed to dim in his life. The teaching stands revealed. The present moment is the only point where divine power flows. When you rest your attention fully in now, you align with the creative current of the universe. Future and past are mental constructs, useful for planning and learning, but powerless to access the miraculous. Only in the crystal clarity of present awareness does the cosmos demonstrate its perfect obedience to consciousness. The ancient practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Begin by focusing attention on your breath, not controlling it, simply observing its natural rhythm. Now expand awareness to include every sensation available to you in this moment. Notice sounds near and far, physical sensations, the space around you. Feel the aliveness in your hands, your feet, your entire body. Without naming or analyzing, simply be with what is. If thoughts arise about past or future, gently return focus to the raw experience of now. Rest here for several minutes, allowing presence to deepen. Feel how this moment contains everything, how eternity lives within this single point of awareness. This practice aligns you with the creative power that orchestrates all manifestation. Remember, the present moment is the only gateway through which miracles can enter. Your desires manifest not through forcing tomorrow, but through fully inhabiting now. Chapter 28. The Flame of Purpose. When you reside fully in the now, manifestation becomes effortless. Each breath draws you deeper into the temple of presence, where all possibilities converge. The ancient teachings whisper that power dwells not in tomorrow's plans or yesterday's lessons, but in this singular moment of awareness. Within these eternal seconds, creation obeys consciousness with perfect precision. Those who have mastered this truth understand that presence is not merely a state of mind. It is the gateway through which all desires flow into form. Consider Anne Bell, who discovered her greatest joy lay in teaching children to read. Rather than pursuing wealth directly, she poured her heart into this calling. Soon, opportunities for expansion arose naturally. Speaking engagements, book deals, and educational programs all emerged as though attracted by the pure frequency of her focused service. In contrast, Carl Boone darted between ventures, chasing whatever seemed profitable in the moment. Though his efforts were constant, his scattered energy produced only exhaustion. His story teaches us that purpose is the hidden compass that guides manifestation toward its truest expression. The law remains constant. When your actions align with both inner joy and outer service, the universe conspires to support your path. It is not the size of the dream that matters, but rather its resonance with your authentic nature and its potential to uplift others. This truth echoes through the ages. Those who find their place of service discover that abundance follows naturally, like a shadow follows form. Purpose becomes the invisible bridge between desire and manifestation, transforming effort into grace. The temple of presence reveals itself when you align with this moment completely, allowing your highest purpose to guide each breath. In this sacred space, striving ceases and being begins. Here, in the eternal now, you discover that purpose and prosperity are but different faces of the same divine flow. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment as dawn approaches. Close your eyes and rest your attention on your breath. Ask silently, what brings both lightness to my heart and benefit to others? Let the answer arise naturally without forcing. When you sense that gentle pull of purpose, make note of it. As tomorrow unfolds, allow this energy to guide your steps, trusting that aligned action creates effortless abundance. Chapter 29. The Crown of Gratitude. In the quiet moments before sunrise, when the world holds its breath between darkness and light, ancient wisdom whispers of a profound truth, one that shapes the very fabric of existence. This sacred knowledge, passed down through generations, speaks of the magnetic power held within gratitude. Consider the tale of Leah Cobb, whose mornings began with a heart overflowing with appreciation. As the first rays of sunlight painted the sky, she would pause to honor the miracle of a new day. This simple act of reverence created ripples through the fabric of her reality. Opportunities appeared as naturally as dew forms on morning grass. Projects flourished, relationships deepened, and even strangers seemed drawn to the quiet radiance that emanated from her being. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds to the frequency of thanksgiving with mathematical precision. Each moment of genuine appreciation sends forth a signal that attracts its energetic match. This is not mere coincidence, but rather the operation of an immutable cosmic law. Ron Hale's story provides the counter-reflection. Each morning his first thoughts dwelled on life's burdens. His mind would immediately race to tasks undone, problems unsolved, and desires unfulfilled. This inner resistance created a field of energy that the universe could only mirror back. Challenges multiplied, solutions remained elusive, and satisfaction stayed just beyond reach. These contrasting paths illuminate a fundamental truth. Gratitude is not merely a virtue, it is a force. Like a magnet drawing forth its corresponding elements, appreciation calls to itself experiences worthy of more appreciation. This creates an ascending spiral of blessing, each thankful thought attracting greater reason for thanks. The ancient masters understood that true gratitude requires no external trigger. It is a choice made moment by moment, independent of circumstances. When you learn to give thanks before evidence appears, you activate the law of attraction at its most powerful level. Think of gratitude as the master key that unlocks the storehouse of universal abundance. Each "thank you" whispered into the dawn becomes a seed planted in fertile cosmic soil. These seeds grow into manifestations that match their original blessing. The difference between Leah and Ron lay not in their circumstances, but in their chosen point of focus. Where she saw gift, he saw burden. Where she found reason for thanks, he found cause for complaint. The outer world simply followed these inner paths with perfect fidelity. Ancient practice. As you rest tonight, name silently the smallest grace until sleepy joy clothes you softly. Chapter 30. The Quiet Majesty. In a small village among rolling hills, Meg Poe tended her modest garden each morning, humming softly as she worked. Though her vegetables sometimes flourished and other times withered, her contentment remained unchanged. She had discovered a secret that transformed her entire existence, the realization that her inner peace need not depend on external circumstances. Through patient observation, she noticed that the more she released her grip on outcomes, the more effortlessly life unfolded. Her neighbors often wondered at her constant smile, even when storms damaged her crops or illness visited her home. "The storm and sunshine are equal teachers," she would say, her eyes twinkling with quiet wisdom. In contrast, Vic Dale lived in the same village, his days consumed by an endless pursuit of success. He measured his worth through achievements, setting ever higher goals that left him perpetually unsatisfied. The more desperately he chased results, the more they seemed to elude him. His garden, though meticulously planned, yielded less than Meg's, as though nature itself responded to his anxious energy with reluctance. The universe whispers this truth. Mastery lies not in controlling outcomes, but in transcending the need for them entirely. When you rest in the completeness of your being, desire transforms from hungry seeking into peaceful allowing. This is not resignation, but rather the highest form of power, the ability to stand unmoved in your wholeness, regardless of external circumstances. Like a vast ocean that remains untroubled by surface waves, your deepest nature exists in perfect completion. Results may come and go like tide and foam, but beneath lies an unchanging depth of fulfillment. This awareness itself becomes the crown you seek, the achievement that renders all other achievements secondary. When you glimpse this truth, manifesting becomes effortless because you no longer manifest from lack but from overflow. Your creations emerge not as desperate attempts to feel whole, but as natural expressions of your inherent abundance. Ancient practice of completion. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Now, sink into the notion that nothing is missing from this moment, that you are complete exactly as you are. Let this feeling of fulfillment breathe itself through you, expanding with each inhale, deepening with each exhale. Remain here until you sense the universe itself sighing in contentment through you. This is the space where all manifestation begins, in the recognition that you already are what you seek to become. Part 4. The Everlasting Flow of Creation. Chapter 31. The Heart as Magnet. In the quiet moments before dawn, Ivy Lee sat before her mirror, beginning a ritual that would transform her life. Where once she saw only emptiness and yearning for partnership, she started greeting her reflection with genuine warmth. Each morning, she spoke words of appreciation to herself, not from desperation, but from a place of growing authenticity. As days passed, something shifted within her. The ache of absence dissolved into a gentle appreciation for her own company. She discovered joy in simple moments, the way sunlight played across her face, the sound of her own laughter, the peace in her solitary tea ritual. Without realizing it, she had stumbled upon one of the universe's most powerful secrets. Self-love creates an energy field that draws similar frequencies. Within weeks, she noticed others responding differently to her. Conversations flowed more naturally. Connections sparked effortlessly, and opportunities for meaningful relationships appeared as if summoned by an invisible hand. She had not changed her external circumstances. She had simply altered the frequency she emanated into the world. Dean Rusk's journey illuminated the opposite path. For years, he pursued validation from others with an intensity that pushed away the very connections he sought. He attended every social gathering, joined countless groups, and crafted what he believed to be the perfect persona. Yet, authentic relationships remained elusive, slipping through his grasp like water. His breakthrough came unexpectedly during a period of forced solitude. In the silence of his own company, he began to recognize that his desperate chase for approval had been masking a deeper truth. He had never learned to be a friend to himself. As he slowly embraced solitude as his teacher rather than his enemy, his inner landscape transformed. The universe responds not to our wishes, but to our vibration. When you seek love from a place of inner emptiness, you broadcast a frequency of lack. But when you fill your own cup first, you become a natural attractor for matching energies. This is not merely about positive thinking. It is about energetic alignment with the fundamental laws of creation. The ancient practice of self-reflection. Rest a palm over your chest and whisper softly, "I like who I'm becoming." Feel warmth. Draw matching warmth from the field around you. Let this simple truth resonate through your being, that love's first home is within, and from that foundation, all other forms of love naturally bloom. Chapter 32. The Whisper of Guidance. In the stillness between thoughts, messages bloom like flowers, opening to morning light. Nina Boyd's journey unveils an eternal truth. The universe speaks through whispers rather than shouts. Each feather crossing her path arrived as nature's subtle nod, confirming she walked in harmony with unseen forces. These weren't mere coincidences, but sacred conversations, gentle reminders that guidance surrounds those who notice with softened eyes. The great mind orchestrates countless delicate signs, weaving them into daily moments for those prepared to recognize their significance. Yet, as Alan Knox discovered, doubt acts as a veil, obscuring these celestial hints until faith parts the curtain once more. His story teaches that trust opens the inner eye while skepticism draws shutters across the soul's windows. When you attune yourself to life's subtle language, every moment becomes pregnant with meaning. A bird's song at dawn may carry tomorrow's answer. The way sunlight falls across your path might illuminate the next step. These are not random events, but precise communications from the infinite to the intimate. Your heart's private dialogue with destiny. The law works through this delicate dance of attention and acceptance. Those who expect dramatic declarations often miss the quiet poetry of divine direction. The universe prefers to guide through gentle nudges, soft coincidences, and peaceful promptings that arise in moments of stillness. This is why ancient wisdom keepers taught the art of peaceful observation, for in tranquility, perception clarifies. Consider how often the most significant revelations arrive not in thunder but in whispered insights. The practice lies not in straining to hear, but in allowing awareness to settle like dust in still water. When you cease demanding answers and instead rest in receptive silence, guidance flows naturally as breath. This sacred law of subtle communication remains constant. The quieter you become, the clearer life's direction grows. Like Nina discovered with her feathers, once you recognize the intimate language of the universe, signs appear with increasing frequency and clarity. Yet, as Alan's journey revealed, these signs require your willing participation, your choice to trust what quiet wisdom suggests. Ancient practice. Before each decision, large or small, pause to let stillness settle around you. Wait for that first gentle impulse that rises after silence has cleared your mind. This initial peaceful thought contains wisdom's seed. Trust it, as you would trust the sunrise to guide your steps into dawn. The universe speaks most clearly through the heart's first quiet knowing. Chapter 33. The Golden Thread of Continuity. In ancient times, a weaver sat before her loom each morning, studying the threads that seemed tangled yet held secret purpose. Like this weaver of old, Lula Ware discovered that life's tapestry reveals its meaning when viewed through eyes of acceptance rather than resistance. For years Lula watched as relationships dissolved into familiar disappointment, each ending echoing wounds from youth. Yet one autumn morning, as sunlight painted her wall in shifting patterns, understanding dawned. These weren't failures to be mourned, but golden threads waiting to be rewoven. When she began thanking each departed friend for showing her where healing belonged, new connections arrived bearing different qualities. The law speaks clearly. What you resist persists. What you embrace transforms. Each pattern in your life carries a message, waiting not for rejection, but for recognition. These recurring themes are not punishment, but invitation, sacred chances to transmute old pain into new wisdom. Earl Fay understood this truth only after watching his fortunes rise and fall like tide. Initially, he saw each setback as cruel fate, until revelation softened his gaze. The rhythm of loss and renewal wasn't random but orchestrated, teaching him to hold both abundance and simplicity as equal gifts. Once he welcomed the cycle itself, its harsh edges smoothed into grace. You see this mirrored in nature, the spiral of shells, the branching of trees, the way rivers return to similar bends. These aren't accidents, but expressions of deeper order. Your own recurring experiences form similar spirals, each turn offering fresh perspective on ancient themes. Watch how certain situations keep appearing, slightly altered, yet somehow familiar. These are not cosmic accidents, but precise alignments, each one carrying a pearl of wisdom waiting to be claimed. When you resist the pattern, it must repeat until its teaching is received. But when you thank it for its persistence, transformation flowers naturally. The sacred practice comes forward. Choose one story that seems to echo through your years. Perhaps it's a certain type of relationship, a financial theme, or a repeated challenge. Rather than wishing it away, sit quietly and offer gratitude for its faithful return. Thank it for caring enough to keep showing up until you see its gift. Feel how this simple blessing begins to dissolve what force could never shift. For in this way, through gentle acceptance rather than rigid resistance, you become the conscious weaver of your destiny. The pattern dissolves not because you fought it, but because you finally heard its whispered wisdom and bowed in gratitude before its perfect timing. Practice. Find a quiet moment and reflect on one pattern that has followed you through life. Close your eyes and silently say, "Thank you for your persistence. I welcome your teaching." Notice how this acceptance begins to shift the energy from burden to blessing. Let gratitude illuminate what judgment could never heal. Chapter 34. The Return to Lightness. You stand now at the threshold of a truth so simple it hides in plain sight. Joy itself accelerates creation. Like sunlight dancing on water, this principle ripples through every success story whispered through the ages. Maribel understood this only after years of furrowed brows and clenched determination. Her business flourished on paper but withered in spirit until the day her granddaughter's laughter echoed through her office. That sound, pure, unfiltered delight, cracked open something ancient within her. She began approaching each meeting, each decision, with the lightness of play rather than the weight of necessity. Within months, opportunities that once required force flowed to her like leaves carried on a laughing brook. Bruce Dale's story mirrors this wisdom from another angle. As a craftsman whose work had grown mechanical, he rediscovered his art's soul when he stopped treating it as burden. The moment he allowed himself to play with forms and colors like a child with new crayons, His creations began selling faster than he could produce them. His customers sensed the joy embedded in each piece, drawn to the energy of delight woven into his work. The universe itself responds to lightness with swift abundance. Think of how quickly smiles spread compared to frowns, how laughter ripples through crowds while complaints sit heavy and still. This is not coincidence, but cosmic law. Where joy flows, life grows. Those who master manifestation know this truth. A heart lifted in play sends clearer signals than a mind strained in seriousness. When you approach your desires with the spirit of delight, you align with the universe's natural state of joyful expansion. Creation itself is an act of divine play, each galaxy spinning in cosmic dance. The practice. Find a quiet moment and smile for no reason for 1 full minute. Let your facial muscles teach your mind the frequency of ease. Notice how reality seems to brighten and bounce in response, mirroring your lightness back to you. This simple act tunes your being to the frequency where manifestation flows most freely. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. In the gentle unfolding of universal law, you discover that the cosmos responds not to force, but to the lightness of being. When you release the grip of seriousness that has held your dreams hostage, creation itself begins to dance with you. The weight you've carried, the belief that manifestation requires strain, dissolves like morning mist in warm sunlight. All that exists flows from a single truth. The universe mirrors your emotional frequency with perfect fidelity. When you approach life with the playful spirit of a child building castles in the air, those very castles begin taking shape in the material world. Your joy becomes the architect of reality. Your laughter, the foundation upon which miracles are built. Feel how your breath carries the power to reshape worlds. With each inhale, you draw in the infinite potential of the universe. With each exhale, you release the need to control outcomes. This rhythm of trust and release becomes your wand of creation, transforming desire into manifestation through the alchemy of acceptance. In the space between thoughts, in the pause between heartbeats, lies the secret chamber, where all possibilities await your recognition. Here, in this sanctuary of stillness, you discover that striving was never necessary. The universe responds not to your effort, but to your state of being. Let your heart beat in harmony with this knowing. Creation flows through joy, not through strain. When you smile, the cosmos smiles with you. When you play, the universe joins your dance. When you trust, reality reshapes itself around your certainty. Remember, the power you seek has always lived in the lightness of your being. In releasing the weight of seriousness, you unlock the very gates of manifestation.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.